This song is called Alice's Restaurant, and it's about Alice and the restaurant. But Alice's Restaurant is not the name of the restaurant, just the name of the song. That's why I call the song Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Now, it all started 2 Thanksgivings ago. It was on 2 years ago Thanksgiving when my friend and I went up to visit Alice at the restaurant. But Alice doesn't live in the restaurant. No, she lives in the church nearby the restaurant, in the bell tower, with her husband Ray and Fasher the dog. And living in the bell tower like that, they got a lot of room downstairs where the pews used to be. Having all of that room, seeing as how they took out all those pews, they decided they didn't have to take out their garbage for a very long time. We got up there, we found all the garbage in there, we decided it'd be a friendly gesture for us to take the garbage to the city dump. So we took half a ton of garbage, put it in the back of a red VW microbus, took shovels and rakes and implements of destruction and headed toward the city dump. Well, we got there. There was a big sign and a chain across the dump saying, "Closed on Thanksgiving." We'd never heard of a dump being closed on Thanksgiving before, but with tears in our eyes, we drove off into the sunset looking for another place to put the garbage. We didn't find one. Until we came to a side road, and off the side road of the side road, there was another 15-foot cliff, and at the bottom of the cliff there was another pile of garbage. We decided that one big pile is better than 2 little piles, and rather than bring that one up, we decided to throw ours down. And that's what we did. And then we drove back to the church and had a Thanksgiving dinner that couldn't be beaten. We went to sleep and we didn't get up until the next morning, when we got a phone call from Officer Obi. He said, "Kid, we found your name on an envelope at the bottom of a half a ton of garbage and just wanted to know if you had any information about it." And I said, "Yes, sir, Officer Obi, I cannot tell a lie. I put that envelope under that garbage." After speaking to Obi for about 45 minutes on the telephone, we finally arrived at the truth of the matter and said we had to go down and pick up the garbage. We also had to go down and speak to him at the police officer's station. So we got into the red VW microbus with the shovels and the rakes and the implements of destruction, and we headed on down toward the police officer's station. Now, friends, there's only 1 or 2 things that Obi could have done at the police station. The first was he could have given us a medal for being so brave and honest on the telephone, which wasn't very likely, and we didn't expect it. The other thing was he could have bawled us out and told us never to be seen driving garbage around the vicinity again, which is what we expected. But when we got to the police officer's station, there was a third possibility that we hadn't even counted upon, and we was both immediately arrested. Handcuffed, and I said, "Obi, I don't think I can pick up the garbage with these handcuffs on." He said, "Shut up, kid. Get in the back of the patrol car." And that's what we did. We sat in the back of the patrol car and drove to the quote scene of the crime, unquote. I want to tell about the town of Stockbridge, Massachusetts, where this happened here. They got 3 stop signs, 2 police officers, 1 police car. But when we got to the scene of the crime, there was 5 police officers and 3 police cars, being the biggest crime of the last 50 years, and everybody wanted to get in the newspaper story about it. And they was using up all kinds of cop equipment that they had hanging around the police officer's station, taking plaster tire tracks and footprints and dog-smelling prints, and they took 27 8x10 color glossy photographs with circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one explaining what each one was and to be used as evidence against us. Took pictures of the approach and the getaway, the northwest corner and the southwest corner, and that's not to mention all the aerial photography. So after that ordeal, we went back to the jail. Obie said he was going to put us in a cell and said, "Kid, I'm going to put you in a cell. I want your wallet and your belt." And I said, "Obie, I can understand you wanting my wallet so that I don't have any money to spend in the cell, but what do you want my bell for?" And he said, "Kid, we don't want any hangings." And I said, "Obie, did you think I would hang myself for littering?" And Obie said he was making sure, and friend that Obie was, because he took out the toilet seat too so that I couldn't hit it over my head and drown myself. And out went the toilet paper so I couldn't bend the bars with it and roll the paper towel out the window and slide down the roll and have an escape. Obie was just making sure. And it was about 4 or 5 hours later that Alice, you remember Alice, this is a song about Alice, Alice came by and with a few nasty words to Obie on the side bailed us out of jail. And we went back to the church and we had ourselves another Thanksgiving dinner. Couldn't be beat. Didn't get up till the next morning, and then we all had to go to court. So we walked in and we sat down, and Obie came in with the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures with circles and arrows on the paragraph on the back of each one and sat down. And a man came in and said, "All rise." So we all stood up, and Obie stood up with the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures, and the judge walked in and sat down with the seeing eye dog. And we sat down. We sat down, and Obie looked at the seeing eye dog, and then at the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures with circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one, and looked at the seeing eye dog. And then at the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures with circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one, and he began to cry. Because Obie came to the realization that it was a typical case of American blind justice, and there was nothing he could do about it, and the judge wasn't going to look at the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures with the circles and arrows and a paragraph in the back of each one, explaining what each one was to be used as evidence against us. And we was fined $50, and we had to pick up the garbage in the snow. But that's not what I came to tell you about. Came to talk about the draft. They got a building down in New York City. It's called Whitehall Street, where you walk in, you get injected, inspected, detected, neglected, and selected. And I went down to get my physical examination one day, and I walked in and I sat down and I got good and drunk the night before, so I looked and felt my best when I went into that office on that morning. You know why? Because I wanted to look like an all-American kid from New York City. Man, I wanted to be able to feel, I wanted to be able to say I was that American kid from New York, and I sat in, I hung down, I brung down, hung down all kinds of mean, nasty, ugly things, and I walked in and I sat down and they gave me a piece of paper and said, "Kid, see the psychiatrist, room 604. So I went up there and I said, "Shrink, I mean, kill. I mean, I wanna kill. I wanna see my teeth eat dead, burnt bodies. I mean, kill. And I started jumping up and down, yelling, "Kill, kill." And then he started jumping up and down with me, and we was both jumping up and down, yelling, "Kill, kill." And the sergeant came over and he said he had to get us out of here because he was saying I was their boy, and I didn't feel too good about that. So we proceeded on down the hall, getting more inspections, detections, neglections, and all kinds of stuff that they was doing to me, all these things here. And I was there for hours, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. I was there a long time, going through all kinds of mean, nasty, ugly things, and I was just having a tough time there, you know, and they was inspecting, injecting every single part of me, and they was leaving no part of me untouched. We proceeded through, and when I finally came to see the very last man, I walked in and sat down after a whole long big thing there, and I walked and said, "What do you want?" And he said, "Kid, I've got one question. Have you ever been arrested?" And I proceeded to tell him the story of Alice's Restaurant Massacre with full orchestration and 5-part harmony and stuff like that, and all the phenomenal, and he stopped me right there and said, "Kid, did you ever go to court?" And I proceeded to tell him the story of the 27 8x10 colored glossy pictures with the circles and arrows and the paragraph on the back of each one, and he stopped me right there and he said, "Kid, I want you to go and sit down on that bench that says Group W. Now, kid." And I walked over to the bench there, and there's Group W, where they put you if you may not be moral enough to join the army after committing your special crime. And there was all kinds of mean, nasty, ugly-looking people on that bench there. Mother rapers and father stabbers and father rapers. Father rapers sitting right there on the same line with me. And they was mean, nasty, and ugly, and horrible crime-type guys sitting on that bench right next to me. And I mean the ugliest, the nastiest one. I mean the father raper of them all was coming on over to me, and he was mean, and he was ugly, and he was nasty, and he was terrible. And he sat down next to me, and he said, "Kid, what'd you get?" And I said, "I didn't get nothing. I had to pay $50 and pick up the garbage in the snow." And he said, "What were you arrested for, kid?" And I said, "Littering." And they all moved away from me on the bench there, and the hairy eyeball and all kinds of mean, nasty things, until I said, "And creating a nuisance." And they all came back and of course sat around me, and we had a great time on that bench talking about crime and mother stabbing and father raping and all kinds of groovy things. Oh, we were talking about everything on that bench, and everything was fine. Smoking cigarettes, all kinds of things, until the sergeant came on over to us, had some papers in his hand, and he held it up and he said, "Kids, this piece of paper's got 47 words, 37 sentences, 58 words. We want to know details of the crime, time of the crime, and any other kind of thing you got to say pertaining to and about the crime. I want to know arresting officers' names and any other kind of thing you got to say." And talk for 45 minutes, and nobody understood a word he said. But we had fun filling out the forms and playing with the pencils on the bench there. And I filled out the massacre with 4-part harmony, and I wrote it down there just like it was. Everything was fine, and I put down the pencil and I turned over the piece of paper, and there on the other side, in the middle of the other side, away from everything else on the other side, in parentheses, capital letters, quotated, read the following words: "Kid, have you rehabilitated yourself?" I went over to the sergeant and I said, "Sergeant, you got a lot of damn gall to ask me if I've been rehabilitated. I'm sitting here on a bench. I'm just sitting here on the Group W bench because you want to know if I'm moral enough to join the army, burn women, kids, houses, and villages after being a litter bug." And he looked at me and he said, "Kid, we don't like your kind, and we're gonna send your fingerprints off to Washington." And friends, somewhere in Washington, enshrined in some little folder, is a study in black and white of my fingerprints. And the only reason I'm singing you this song right now is because you may know somebody in a similar situation, or you may be in a similar situation. And if you're in a situation like that, there's only one thing you can do, and that's just walk into the shrink wherever you are. Just walk in and say, "Shrink, you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant," and walk out. You know, if one person, just one person does this, makes them really sick and they won't take it. If two people do it in harmony, and they may think that they're Bluebox theater singers and they won't take either of them, But if 3 people do it, 3 people, can you imagine that? If 3 people do that, 3 people walking, singing in a bar, Alice's restaurant, and then walking back out. They may think it's an organization. And can you imagine 50 people a day? I say 50 people a day walking in, singing a bar of Alice's restaurant, and walking out. And friends, they may think it is a movement. And that's what it is. The Alice's Restaurant Anti-Massacre Movement. And all you gotta do is join singing next time it comes around on the old guitar. With feeling. So we'll wait for it to come around on the guitar here and sing it when it does. Here it comes. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. That was horrible. It was. If you want to end war and stuff, you gotta sing louder and better than that. I've been singing this song for 25 minutes now. I could sing it for another 25 minutes. I'm not proud or tired. So we'll wait till it comes around again. This time with 4-part harmony and feeling. We'll just wait for it to come around again on the guitar, and that's what we're doing. Dax wants to sing too. All right now. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant, except an Alice. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. You can walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Ba-da-da-da-da, da-da-da, Alice's Restaurant. Yeah. Thanksgiving.
Who do you want to sit next to?
These are my choices. I'll eat in the kitchen.
Let's not get started.
Can't I get away with staying out of everyone's way?
Who do you want next to you? Speak now or forever sit near peas.
Ugh, the smell. I'll sit next to anyone as long as I'm pardoned from the peas.
How about over here next to my boss?
She's not coming.
She is.
She's not. She called.
She called. When did she call?
Today.
Yes, but when?
Before you were at the store.
Well, what did she say?
She said she's not coming.
Why? Oh, did she give a reason?
I didn't make small talk with your boss. I just took the message and said, that's a shame, then hung up.
Why would she cancel?
Probably so she wouldn't have to come here.
Maybe she's sick.
She didn't sound sick.
Not all sickness has a sound.
Maybe she got a better offer.
Like what?
Like any other offer. Do you really think that spending Thanksgiving here would be anyone's first choice?
Hey!
Look, I didn't mean...
Look, so it's not your first choice to be here with me and my family today?
No, not really.
Hey!
Oh, stop. This isn't an earth-shattering realization, Trey. I don't even like this holiday. If I get a random Thursday off from work, I'd be much happier spending it alone with some football than hours with you in family mode.
What's wrong with family mode? Me?
The same thing that's wrong with anyone in family mode. It's intense, unrealistic, and borders on obnoxious.
You've never said so before.
Actually, I have. Last year I mentioned that I hated family mode you. I was super clear because you were being extra micromanagerial and I left for 2 hours to go get more wine, remember?
Yes, I remember you getting more wine.
Can I do that again this year?
No. My cousin is bringing a keg from his microbrewery, and Aunt Gigi already has a case of wine at the ready.
Fine, I'll find another reason to pop out.
You're not going
Oh,
anywhere.
trust me, I'll be going somewhere. It's a tradition. I always run to the store on Thanksgiving.
You do.
Yes. The escape is what I'm most thankful for each year.
Escape? What do you need to escape from? Oh, here, move this to the kids' table.
What are these?
Gourds.
The kids' table has no need for gourds.
They're educational.
How?
I don't know. Something botanical. Just put them on the kids' table.
They're phallic and obscene and have no place at Thanksgiving. Kids are merciless.
Fine. I'll tuck them in my cornucopia.
You do that.
So, anyway. What do you need to escape from?
Anxiety, stress, tension.
It's Thanksgiving, not a torture combat.
The fact of the matter is that I get very uncomfortable around regimented, precise, or highly organized plans. They're just too rigid for my temperament, and chaos often ensues.
There won't be anything chaotic about my Thanksgiving. It runs like clockwork every year.
Sounds exhausting.
It is. It's draining every year.
Then why go through with it the same way every year if it's such a drag?
Tradition.
Do you know the best time to change a tradition?
When?
Now.
No, I don't think so.
Thanksgiving seems to be thanks-taking. It's time to turn this thing around. Break the chains. Get the holiday to work for you for a change. Make the best of it.
What would you suggest, Monty?
Something small. Delegate something minor. Start to let that power go.
Give away the reins.
Don't look at it that way. You're taking a rest, that's all.
An escape.
That's right.
But what if something on my checklist doesn't get done?
Enough Thanksgiving. You should be taking a nap.
That turkey does make me sleepy.
Someone else will fluff the napkins and stack the macaroons.
Just make sure you check the stuffed mushrooms.
Oh, of course. Stop Thanksgiving orders. It's time for taking a break.
I'll go lay down for 10 minutes.
Watch the parade highlights.
Just wake me up before anyone gets here.
Sweet dreams.
Oh, and by the way, don't move my seating arrangements. You're sitting between them, and that's the end of it. Got it?
Son of a bitch.
Nice try. So, who do you want to sit next to?
Anyone but myself.